Listen to me carefully because this might bring you peace and save you from paying money you never truly owed. A few months ago, I sat across the table from a soft spoken man named Harold, 77 years old, a widower. He had just paid $125 for 3 parking tickets he thought were mandatory. The papers looked official. They used legal sounding words. He said, I was afraid if I didn't pay, they'd suspend my license or come after me. Harold is smart. He's proud. But fear made him reach for his checkbook. And here's the twist. He didn't legally owe at least 2 of those tickets. The law was on his side, but no one had told him. This video is for every senior who has ever looked at a parking ticket and whispered, I don't know if I can afford this. Or worse, I'm too tired to fight. Because here's what the cities and parking companies hope, that you'll be too overwhelmed to ask questions, that you'll pay in silence, that no one will stand beside you. But today, I will. I'm not just a lawyer. I've spent 15 years helping older adults protect what's theirs. And in the next few minutes, I'm going to walk you through 5 common parking tickets that many seniors feel pressured to pay, but aren't legally required to. And make sure you stay until the end, because the last one is not only the most manipulative, it's the one I see trapping seniors into paying again and again. So grab a notebook or just listen closely. And if any of this reminds you of something you've experienced, share it in the comments. Your story could help someone else feel less alone. And don't forget to tap that like button so this reaches more people who need it. Let me paint a fuller picture of Harold's situation to show you how common this is. Harold had been driving to his weekly senior center meetings, always careful to check meters and signs. One day, he received 3 envelopes in the mail, each stamped with final notice in bold red letters. The amounts added up to $125, and each one threatened license suspension if not paid within 7 days. Harold, a retired mechanic who fixed cars for 40 years, prides himself on following rules. But these letters made him doubt himself. Did I miss a sign? Was I parked too long? He wondered. He called his son, who was busy with work, and decided to just pay to avoid trouble. But when he came to me, we discovered 2 of those tickets were issued to vehicles with similar plates blocks away, and the third lacked any proof of service. All 3 could have been dismissed with simple disputes. Stories like Harold's repeat daily in my office. Seniors on fixed incomes can't afford to lose $125 to sloppy enforcement. Now, let's begin with one of the most misunderstood and fear-inducing types of parking tickets. Tickets that were never properly served or placed on your vehicle. When Ellen opened her mail, she expected a birthday card from her grandson. Instead, she found a $75 late fee notice for a parking ticket she never saw on her windshield at the doctor's office. She sat at her kitchen table, confused and embarrassed. She said, I don't even remember any ticket, but what if not paying hurts my driving record? Here's the truth. Many seniors, especially after medical appointments or church, get hit with final notice parking tickets they were never warned about. This happens when an officer or camera company claims they placed it on your car, but sends only a mailed reminder weeks later without proof. But under local ordinances in most cities and states, you're protected. If the ticket wasn't physically placed on your vehicle, or properly mailed with tracking within 14 days, you often don't legally owe it. That's a powerful starting point. From my work, I've seen that many notices are inflated due to missing photos, unsigned officer reports, or outright failure to serve properly. And yes, it's frustrating, but also fixable. You can dispute the ticket. You can request proof of service. And if you feel unsure, you can ask the parking authority directly. Can you show me the photo of the ticket on my windshield or the certified mail receipt? One study from the AOTA Foundation found that 2/3 of drivers never even tried to contest improper service. But among those who did, over 60% had their ticket dismissed entirely. Let me break down why improper service is such a big issue. In cities like New York, Los Angeles, and Chicago, municipal codes require that parking tickets be placed visibly on the driver's side window or mailed with certified receipt within 14 days of issuance. If neither happens, the ticket is void ab initio. That's legalese for invalid from the start. I've reviewed hundreds of cases where final notices arrive 30, 60, even 90 days later with no original ticket photo. Officers claim they placed it, but without time-stamped evidence or witness statements, it's their word against yours. And courts side with due process. Ellen's case was textbook, doctor's office lot, busy morning, no ticket visible when she returned. The mailed notice came 25 days later from a third-party processor. When she requested the original citation image, they admitted no photo existed because wind blew it off. Dismissed in one phone call. Add to that, many seniors have vision or mobility issues, making it hard to spot small tickets. Law requires accommodation, not punishment. If this happened to you or to someone you love, know this. You're not causing trouble by asking questions. You're protecting what you worked for. And if a notice like this shows up in your mailbox again, take a breath. Let your lawyer brain switch on. You have time. You have rights. You can do this too. Coming up next, we'll talk about another hidden trap. Tickets sent to the wrong vehicle or person that hope you don't check the details. Database errors are rampant with automated license plate readers, ALPRs. These cameras snap thousands of plates per hour, but OCR software misreads 5 to 10% of them, swapping 8 for B, 0 for O, etc. A week after grocery shopping, Judith picked up the mail and saw a $90 demand letter with her name but a license plate that didn't match her car. Her hands shook. She whispered, "But that's not my plate number. It was his old car." This is where database errors meet legal manipulation. Countless seniors, especially widows, are quietly pressured to pay parking tickets for vehicles they no longer own or that were misread by cameras. And in moments of doubt, confusion becomes currency. Here's the law. Unless the photo clearly shows your exact license plate, make, model, and color, and you were the registered owner at the time, you are not responsible for someone else's ticket. Not as a former owner, not as a family member, not as the person with a similar name who picks up the mail. But parking companies know how to blur that line. They'll send letters with partial matches, speak as if it's definitely yours, lean on your confusion, and even more on your sense of fairness. I've seen it too many times. One woman I worked with received notices for her late husband's truck tickets. No shared registration, no matching photo, just her address. She almost paid it until we asked one simple question. Can you show us the clear photo with her exact plate and proof of ownership? They couldn't. The notices stopped. Emotionally, this hits deep because when you've downsized cars or lost a spouse, you're not just managing change. You're fighting to keep your stability, and behind every demand letter is that silent fear. If I don't pay, am I ignoring my responsibilities? Let me say this clearly as your lawyer. Transition should never come with mystery tickets. You are allowed to drive without being financially hunted. Your DMV records confirm this. Parking enforcers cannot make you pay from your own money unless the vehicle is verifiably yours. If they try, demand written proof. Ask for the original photo and registration match. If they don't have it, you can walk away. No shame, no guilt. You can do this too. One letter, one call, one boundary at a time. Always demand high-res photos zoomed on plate. Mismatches jump out. One client had 7 tickets for a car scrapped 5 years prior, all dismissed after DMV title search. Next, we'll talk about something even more personal. Tickets that arrive months or years later when the legal time to collect has expired. Statutes of limitations for civil parking fines vary, California 1 year, Texas 2 years, New York 6 years. For judgments, but one for initial collection. After that, no lawsuit possible. Collectors send pay or court letters anyway, banking on ignorance. One quiet afternoon in her garden, Maria got a collection notice from a parking company for a $120 ticket from 18 months ago at the community center. She sat frozen. She remembered parking there for bingo, but not this demand now. She remembered the event, but she didn't remember agreeing to pay so late. This is where time becomes a trap. Seniors, especially those who drive to appointments or church, are often targeted in these delayed collection situations. A quick stop quietly turns into a late fee. A routine outing becomes a bill. But here's the truth. If there's no timely notice within the city's appeal window, usually 21-30 days, and the statute of limitations for civil fines has passed, often 1 to 3 years, it's not legally enforceable. Now, I'm not telling you to ignore real violations. If you parked illegally and got proper notice, fairness matters. But if a company brings up a ticket over a year later with no original proof, no timely mailing, no court filing, then they carry the burden of proof, not you. I once helped a retired teacher who was hounded by a $85 mall parking ticket from 2 years prior. No original ticket photo, no appeal record, just pressure. And the threat of credit reporting. We asked for proof of timely service. They had none. It ended right there. Emotionally, this kind of situation stirs up deep fears. Will they suspend my license? Will this ruin my good record? Am I being forgetful? It's okay to ask these questions. It's also okay to set boundaries from a legal lens. Here's the key. Late parking demands are hard to enforce unless documented with dates and original service proof. Courts typically don't uphold stale claims without timely action and signatures. And no, delay is not a binding agreement. If someone approaches you with this pay now or else energy, here's what to do. Stay calm. Ask for the original ticket date and service proof, and don't pay out of pressure. You can even say, I don't recall timely notice of this ticket, and I need to verify before deciding. You have every right to pause, to protect your peace, and to honor the facts, not just their version of it. You can do this too. One quiet boundary could save you hundreds. Collectors buy old debts cheap and harass. Key: certified mail disputes citing SOL. They drop 80% of cases. Next, we'll talk about a ticket that shows up even when you followed the rules, and why you don't always have to pay the inflated fine. Handicap violations are the cruelest for mobility-impaired seniors. 3 months after doctor's appointments, 76-year-old Mrs. Elaine Carter opened her mailbox to find a $95 booting threat for a loading zone ticket she swore she avoided. She'd checked signs carefully, parked in marked senior spots, and hadn't returned there since moving closer to family. But now she was being told she owed for a violation she never committed. This kind of thing happens all too often. Seniors with mobility needs downsized driving, use handicap placards, or stick to familiar spots, and weeks or months later, a parking ticket follows them like a shadow. And here's the truth. I want you to hear clearly. If you have a valid handicap placard displayed, followed posted signs exactly, or the meter was malfunctioning without warning, you are not legally responsible for paying it. Sometimes cities fail to train officers on placard rules. Other times, cameras misread spaces, hoping the former driver, often a cautious senior, will just pay out of confusion or guilt. I helped a retired nurse named Nancy, who received a $65 expired meter ticket for her accessible spot 2 months after placard verification. When we asked for documentation, the city couldn't show placard disregard, sign photos, or meter function proof. The ticket disappeared the moment they were held accountable. Elaine's placard was valid, displayed properly per DMV photo standards. Loading zone sign was faded, contradictory with senior spot markings. Cities must prove placard invalid or hidden. Nancy's meter ticket, machine out of order per witness, no warning cone. ADO requires accommodations. Booting threats violate due process without hearing. Always attach placard copy, meter photos. Here's what you need to do if this happens to you. Ask for written proof of violation details, sign photos, placard checks, and meter logs. Provide a copy of your handicap permit or witness statement if available. If you've stopped using that spot, ask someone you trust to recheck signage. Sometimes zones change without notice at all. And most importantly, never pay a ticket just to avoid the hassle. That payment could be interpreted as admitting guilt. Under traffic codes in most US states and cities, enforcers must verify violations before booting or collecting. And you have every right to dispute the ticket in writing and request a full hearing. You can do this too. One calm phone call, one confident question. It's often all it takes to protect your finances and your peace of mind. Now, let's look at a type of parking debt that comes from private lots, and why, even if they demand payment, the law might be fully on your side. Private lots like Walmart. Strip malls use firms like Parking Company of America. Signs must be 2 feet tall, lit, at eye level per contract law precedents. Mrs. Diane Morgan, 72, was checking her community mailbox when a private parking firm letter arrived claiming $145 for contract breach in a store lot from 8 months ago. Her hands trembled. She barely remembered shopping there, let alone agreeing to their terms. If you don't pay, it warned coldly, we'll report to credit bureaus. That moment, it's when fear meets fine print. And that's exactly what some private companies count on. But here's what I told her, and what I want you to remember too. In most states, private parking fines are not government tickets, but invoices that must prove a clear contract via visible signs. Without readable signage where you parked, reasonable fees, or actual loss proof, that demand is legally uncollectible. The danger comes when seniors, out of fear or habit, make a small payment or acknowledge the claim. That small gesture can create an estoppel argument, giving them a fresh claim to pursue. The law calls these unenforceable contract invoices. They may send demands, but they cannot force payment or sue successfully unless you give them agreement. I once helped a widow in Florida who received threats over a $90 grocery lot overstay. Diane's sign was 6 inches, behind pole. No contract formed. Florida parking code limits fees to actual loss. The company used phrases like, "We're pursuing collections." But after we requested sign photos under consumer laws, they backed off immediately. No court, no payment, no harm done. If this happens to you, stay calm. Don't confirm anything over phone. Ask for a written validation with sign photos and contract proof. They must prove clear terms you accepted. Look up your state's private parking laws or call legal aid for help. You can do this too. One small change, a pause before paying, can protect your entire retirement. And now, let's talk about something even more heartbreaking. When the parking ticket wasn't real at all, but a scam designed to prey on your trust. Last winter, Mrs. Eleanor James opened a letter that looked serious, stamped final notice. It said she owed $89 for a municipal parking violation with a fake case number and urgent payment link. There was a barcode, a collections hotline, and even her partial plate. It felt real, but it wasn't. This is how scammers work now. Their tickets look official. Their emails are polished. Their phone voices are calm but firm. And their favorite targets, seniors who value rules, peace, and doing the right thing. The danger isn't just the money. It's the self-doubt they plant. That what if they're legitimate? That fear of license suspension. That worry you're being irresponsible. Here's the legal truth. If you didn't get an original ticket from a real city authority, you don't owe anything. Scammers use DMV leaks and public records to send fake demands that mimic real ones. And once you pay once, they often keep sending more or sell your data. I always tell my clients, trust your gut. If something feels off, don't rush. Ask yourself, did I get an original ticket? Did the city call first? Why are they asking for prepaid cards or wire transfers? Legitimate cities won't demand odd payments and won't threaten without a hearing notice. One tip I always give, ask for their official city website link and case number. Verify on the real government site. If you find no record or scam reports, you've avoided a trap. According to the FTC, seniors lose over $3 billion a year to imposter scams. And a big part is fake traffic and parking demands. But it doesn't have to be you. You have the right to questions, to delay, to hang up and verify with your actual city hall. You still have control. Please share this part of the video with someone you love. It might save them from being taken advantage of. And now, let's bring everything we've talked about together because you deserve peace, not pressure. Today, we talked about parking tickets you can fight, wrong vehicle claims, expired demands, rule-following violations, private lot invoices, and the growing number of scam tickets that prey on your trust. All of it aimed at helping you take back control. To recap with specifics: 1. Demand service proof or dismiss. 2. Verify plate match exactly. 3. Cite SOL by state. 4. ADA placard defense. 5. Private sign clarity test. Because here's the truth. You weren't raised in a world of camera tickets, fine print signs, or phishing mails. You came from a time when a parking cop meant something and warnings were face to face. So, if the system feels confusing now, it's not your fault. It's okay to slow down, ask questions, and say, I need proof. You still have rights. You still have choices. And most importantly, you still have the power to protect your peace. One small change can make a big difference. You've earned peace. Use it. Remember, every ticket has weaknesses. Your knowledge is the weapon. Repeat these steps for every notice. If this video helped, please share it with someone you love, a neighbor, a sister, a friend from church. Your wisdom might protect their savings too. And tell us in the comments, what parking ticket are you going to take another look at this week? I'm not just a lawyer. I'm someone who believes your calm and your dignity should never be a monthly sacrifice. Repeat, you have power. Every dispute is a victory. Share more stories in the comments to inspire others. Remember always, the law protects those who ask. End.